Welcome back to the channel everyone. Today I am bringing you one of the most mind-blowing stories in the world of rare coins, a story about a simple Lincoln penny that most of us probably spent without thinking twice, a coin you could have had in your pocket in 2005, a coin that was minted and circulated just like billions of others. But here's the shocking twist: one very special penny from that year has recently made headlines, because its current market value has soared to an unbelievable $4.4 million. That's right, we are talking about a single 1-cent coin that could literally turn someone into a millionaire overnight. Now, before you start digging through your change jar or your old coin collections, let me explain how something so ordinary became so extraordinary. The 2005 Lincoln penny looks pretty much like the millions of pennies that left the US Mint that year, but every once in a while during the minting process mistakes happen, and sometimes those mistakes end up creating what collectors call error coins. These errors can be tiny, they can be massive, and sometimes they create a once-in-a-lifetime coin that becomes so desirable in the collector's market that its value skyrockets to jaw-dropping levels. This particular 2005 Lincoln penny has what experts are calling a spectacular minting anomaly. It's not just a small off-center strike or a double die error. We're talking about a combination of flaws so unique that it has never been seen before and likely will never be seen again. Coin graders examined it under high-powered microscopes. They confirmed its authenticity and placed it in a top-tier grading slab. When it first went up for auction, collectors from around the world started bidding furiously, and the price kept climbing and climbing until finally the hammer dropped at $4.4 million, making this humble 1-cent piece one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. Think about that for a second. A coin that costs the government only a fraction of a cent to make ended up being worth more than a luxury mansion in Beverly Hills, more than a fleet of exotic cars, more than some people will ever earn in a lifetime. The craziest part is that this penny was in circulation at one point. It actually passed through the hands of regular people who had no idea what they were holding. Someone may have bought a candy bar with it, someone may have tossed it in a piggy bank, a cashier may have handed it out as change, until finally it landed in the possession of someone sharp-eyed enough to realize that they were holding a fortune in their hand. Now you might be wondering, how could you tell if you have one of these million-dollar pennies? The truth is, not every 2005 Lincoln cent is going to make you rich. Most of them are just ordinary coins worth face value, but collectors are always on the hunt for special details: errors, double dies, die cracks, misstrikes, wrong planchet strikes, and other unusual features. So if you have a 2005 penny, take a closer look, hold it under a bright light, use a magnifying glass or even one of those cheap USB microscopes you can buy online. Check the lettering, check the date, check for doubling, check the edges. Sometimes the smallest imperfection can translate into a massive payout. Another thing that drives value in the coin world is rarity. There might be billions of pennies minted, but if only one or two have a unique error, they instantly become priceless, because collectors know they may never see another example. That scarcity drives competitive bidding at auctions, and that's exactly what happened with this coin. Serious investors were ready to pay whatever it took to secure a piece of history, and they pushed the price all the way to $4.4 million. Imagine finding a penny like that in your pocket. Change today. Imagine paying for a soda with it and then realizing later that you just gave away a fortune. Stories like this are why people become obsessed with coin collecting, because treasure is literally out there hiding in plain sight every single day, and sometimes it takes just one coin to change your entire life overnight. What makes this even more fascinating is that the Lincoln cent has been around for over a century. Since 1909 it has gone through different designs, different minting errors, and countless varieties. Some of those older coins are worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, but very few have ever reached multi-million-dollar status, and the fact that a relatively modern 2005 penny is now worth $4.4 million proves that treasures aren't only hiding in ancient history, they can be hiding in your wallet right now. Collectors are now paying closer attention to every Lincoln penny from the 2000s, especially 2005. Because of this record sale, coin dealers are reporting increased demand. People are searching their old rolls of coins. Banks are seeing customers request boxes of pennies just so they can hunt for that next jackpot discovery, and this craze shows no signs of slowing down, because where there's $1 million coin, there could always be another. So what should you do if you think you have a special penny? First, never clean it, never scratch it, never polish it. Cleaning a coin destroys its value immediately. Instead, put it in a safe holder or even just a soft cloth to prevent scratches. Then contact a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies authenticate coins and Assign them grades which can multiply their market value once a coin is graded and confirmed as an error rarity or high-grade variety. Collectors feel confident paying top dollar for it. The bottom line is this 1-cent coin that was once overlooked now stands as proof that life-changing treasures can still be found in everyday circulation. It's a reminder that the smallest things sometimes hold the biggest surprises. So the next time you get change at a store, or the next time you roll pennies with your kids or dig through that jar sitting on your dresser, take a closer look, because you just might be holding the next $1 million discovery, and who knows, maybe the next headline will be about you finding a $4.4 million Lincoln penny in your own pocket. So keep searching, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of a single penny, because that tiny coin could be the key to becoming rich overnight. Ladies and gentlemen, coin lovers, treasure hunters, and history buffs, today we are diving into one of the most shocking, most unbelievable, and jaw-dropping discoveries in the entire world of coin collecting, and it's all about a simple everyday Lincoln penny that could make you a millionaire overnight. Yes, you heard that right, a penny, a 1-cent coin from the year 1989 that is currently shaking the numismatic world because its market value has skyrocketed all the way up to an astounding $9.4 million now. Before you think this is just another old coin story, let me tell you the truth. This is not your ordinary penny. This is not just a copper-coated zinc disc with Abraham Lincoln's profile on it. This is the kind of coin that proves life-changing discoveries can still be hiding right in your pocket. Change in your coin jar, or even in that dusty old box of coins sitting in your grandparents' attic. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that was meant to be worth 1 cent but today is worth more than most mansions, luxury cars, and fortunes combined. The 1989 Lincoln cent was minted in the billions, and you've probably seen one more than once in your life. It carries the iconic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, just like millions of other pennies in circulation. But here's where the magic happens. Among those billions of coins, there exists a tiny handful of error coins and rare strike variations that set them apart from the rest, and one particular specimen recently made headlines across the numismatic community when it sold at auction for $9.4 million, breaking records and stunning collectors worldwide. So what makes this penny so rare and so valuable? Well, first it comes down to its striking details. This 1989 penny shows a minting error so rare that experts describe it as a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly. Imagine the mint process, where thousands of planchets are being struck by high-pressure dies. Sometimes mistakes happen. A double die, a misaligned strike, a transitional metal composition, or even a die clash can produce coins that were never intended to exist. And when one of these errors survives circulation long enough to be discovered, it instantly becomes a priceless gem. Now let's talk numbers, because I know you want to understand why this penny is valued in the Malaysians. A normal 1989 penny is worth exactly 1 cent in your pocket. If you took it to a store, it would buy you almost nothing. But collectors value rarity and uniqueness more than anything else. The rarest known 1989 Lincoln cent error has been authenticated by top grading companies. It's been certified in mint state condition, and when it went to auction, the bids flew through the roof, because every serious collector wanted to own the one coin that nobody else could have imagined. Standing in that auction room as the bidding climbed past 1 million, past 2 million, past 5 million, until finally it hammered down at $9.4 million, making the lucky finder an instant multi-millionaire. Think about that for a second. This coin could be sitting unnoticed in your home right now, in a drawer, in a coin roll, in that change you got back from the grocery store. It could be anywhere, because the beauty of these stories is that many of these life-changing coins were discovered completely by accident. Somebody found one in a pocket full of change, somebody else spotted one in a coin jar, and one lucky person pulled it straight out of circulation without realizing the fortune they held at first. And that is why searching your pennies is one of the most exciting hobbies in the world. Now I want to take you back to the story of the lucky individual who owned this $9.4 million penny. They were not a millionaire, they were not a high-end collector, they were an everyday person just like you and me, who simply had an eye for detail. They spotted something different about their 1989 Lincoln cent. The lettering looked unusual, the strike appeared slightly off, and instead of spending it, they decided to have it checked out. They sent it off to be graded, and when the results came back, their life changed forever. The coin was labeled a one-of-a-kind mint error, a priceless treasure, and suddenly the coin world was buzzing with headlines about the new $1 million penny. But here is where it gets even more interesting. Not only was this coin an error, but it was also preserved in pristine condition. Most Coins get scratched, banged up and worn down in circulation, but this particular penny remained sharp, crisp and almost untouched since the day it left the mint. That preservation factor multiplied its value because collectors pay top dollar for condition, and when you combine a perfect condition coin with an impossible error, you get a once-in-a-generation jackpot. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means that every time you come across your change, you should look a little closer. Every time you break open a bank roll of pennies or sort through your coin jar, you should keep your eyes peeled for doubling in the date, strange lettering, odd colors, unusual weight, or anything that just feels different, because while most pennies are worth a cent, the rare ones can be worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, and sometimes like this one, $9.4 million. Now let's break down the signs of what to look for in your 1989 pennies. First, always check the date carefully. There are known double die obverse where the numbers look doubled or slightly shifted. Second, look at the mint mark. Coins struck in Philadelphia, Denver or San Francisco can all carry different values, especially if errors are involved. Third, pay attention to the overall strike. Is it misaligned? Is the design weak on one side? Is there a ghost image or clash behind Lincoln's head? All of these are potential signs of an error coin. And fourth, never ignore the metal composition. While most 1989 pennies were made from copper plated zinc, unusual compositions or planchet mix-ups can slip through the mint. Collectors all over the world are now on high alert, searching for more of these rare 1989 pennies, and the frenzy has only grown since that $9.4 million sale. People are checking rolls from the bank, buying coin lots online, and even sifting through decades-old collections in hopes of striking it rich. And the best part is anyone can do this. You don't need to be an expert, you don't need a fortune to start. All you need is a good eye, patience, and the willingness to check your change, because the next millionaire could be you. Let that sink in for a moment. A single penny from 1989, a coin designed to be worth just 1 cent, a coin so common that billions were minted, has changed someone's life forever with a price tag of $9.4 million. That is the true magic of coin collecting, and the reason why stories like these continue to inspire millions of people worldwide. So the next time you see a penny, don't just toss it aside, don't let it slip away unnoticed. Hold it up to the light, check it carefully, study it closely, because one day you might just find the penny that turns you from ordinary to extraordinary, from broke to rich, from everyday collector to millionaire overnight. This is not just a coin, this is a golden opportunity hiding in plain sight, and as long as pennies like the 1989 Lincoln cent exist in circulation, your chance at fortune is still alive. Keep searching, keep collecting. And who knows, maybe you will be the next person to make headlines with a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. If you are holding on to a jar of old pennies, today's story might just make you check them more carefully than ever before. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple brown coin that most people overlook, and realizing it could make you a millionaire overnight. That's not a fantasy, because right now the spotlight is on a 1989 Lincoln 1-cent coin, a penny still in circulation, that has shocked the coin collecting world with a staggering market value of $2.4 million. Yes, a single copper-plated zinc penny, something that we often drop in tip jars or ignore on the sidewalk, has become a ticket to life-changing fortune. The Lincoln cent has been around for more than a century, first minted in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Over the decades, billions have been struck, and most of them are worth exactly what they say, just 1 cent. But here's the twist that makes coin collecting so fascinating. Out of these billions, a handful escape the mint with strange errors, rare variations, or unique features that transform them into treasures. That's the case with this incredible 1989 Lincoln penny that has entered headlines for commanding a multi-million-dollar value. So what makes this particular 1989 penny so rare and valuable? Collectors believe it comes down to a combination of error strikes, minting anomalies, and pristine preservation. Some reports suggest that a small number of coins from 1989 were struck with a transitional error, possibly involving the wrong die being used, which created a rare variety unlike the standard cent. Others hint at the use of leftover experimental planchets, the blank discs used to strike coins, which could have resulted in an unusual metal composition. Add to that the fact that this coin has survived decades without wear, keeping a near-perfect condition, and suddenly you have a numismatic miracle. Now think about it. We often assume that only old coins from the 1800s or early 1900s carry such high values. But here we are, looking at a penny from 1989, a coin that many of us have probably spent at the grocery store or tossed into change jars, now commanding a price tag higher than some luxury houses. $2.4 million for a single cent coin. That is the definition of getting rich overnight. Let's break down why collectors and investors are willing to pay such staggering sums. In the world of rare coins, rarity is king. The fewer examples that exist, the higher the demand, and when passionate collectors compete for ownership, prices soar. Add historical significance and era rarity into the mix, and you create a perfect storm that can push values into the millions. And with Lincoln cents being one of the most heavily collected coin series in the United States, the demand is never short. Imagine this scenario. Someone picks up a handful of coins from their car's cup holder. Among them, a dull-looking penny from 1989. Instead of ignoring it, they notice something different. Maybe the lettering looks slightly off, maybe the coin feels a bit heavier, or the details appear unusually sharp. They take it to a coin dealer, who immediately realizes this is no ordinary cent. A professional grading service confirms its authenticity and rarity, and suddenly this once forgotten penny is headlining auctions, drawing bids that climb into the millions. The owner's life changes forever, all because of 1 cent. That's why collectors emphasize the importance of checking your change. Every time you receive coins back at the store, every time you empty out a piggy bank, every time you stumble on an old coffee can filled with pennies, you might be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. The 1989 Lincoln cent story proves that it's not just the antique coins from centuries ago that hold hidden value. Even modern pocket change can hide treasures capable of rewriting your financial future. Now let's talk about how you can identify whether your 1989 penny might be special. First, always look at the details. Check for doubling in the lettering or the date, which can indicate a double die error. Look for unusual coloration or metal tones, since experimental planchets may differ in composition. Examine the edges and strike quality, because unusual sharpness or weakness can also signal minting mistakes. And above all, condition matters. Coins kept in near mint state, showing little to no wear, can multiply their value exponentially. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC exist to certify coins, and if you believe you found a rare example, it's worth submitting it for examination. An ordinary penny may only be worth 1 cent, but a certified era variety can suddenly jump to thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions, as we're seeing with this astonishing 1989 penny. What's truly exciting about stories like this is that they ignite curiosity. People all around the world are checking their change, searching through old coin rolls, and re-examining the jars of pennies passed down from parents and grandparents. It becomes a modern treasure hunt, one where the prize isn't buried in the ground but tucked away in everyday life, hidden in plain sight, and the 1989 penny worth $2.4 million is a reminder that fortune doesn't always come from obvious places. Sometimes it comes from a coin most people ignore, a coin small enough to slip through your fingers, yet powerful enough to change your entire destiny. So the next time you're handed a penny, don't shrug it off. Don't toss it aside or let it gather dust. Take a closer look, because your future might be shining right there in copper plating. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next person making headlines, all thanks to a little 1 cent coin from 1989. If you enjoyed this story, stay tuned because there are many more hidden gems in the world of Lincoln cents and rare coins. Subscribe, check your change, and keep hunting. Your millionaire penny could be waiting in your pocket right now. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are diving deep into one of the most unbelievable stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that might make you look at every single penny in your pocket, purse, or piggy bank in a completely different way. We are talking about a tiny copper-colored coin, a simple 1 cent piece minted in 1988, a coin that most people have spent without a second thought, a coin that millions of Americans have carried in their change, a coin so common that nobody would have guessed it could hold the power to make someone a multi-millionaire overnight. But here is the shocker, one of these 1988 Lincoln cents has surfaced in circulation, and the current market value attached to this single penny is an eye-watering $9.4 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $9.4 million for a penny that most of us would leave in a coin jar, forget on a counter, or even toss aside as worthless pocket change. Now before you think this is some kind of rumor or internet myth, let me walk you through the fascinating world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, because sometimes the rarest treasures are hiding right under our noses. The 1988 Lincoln penny has long been considered a standard-issue coin. Abraham Lincoln's face on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, millions upon millions struck by the U.S. Mint, distributed everywhere, from banks to gas stations to grocery stores. Nothing about the average 1988 penny seems extraordinary. But here's where the story takes a turn. Certain varieties, minting errors, and ultra-rare misstrikes can completely transform the destiny of an ordinary coin. The coin we are talking about today is no ordinary 1988 penny. It is a coin that collectors now call the Holy Grail of late 20th century U.S. coinage. Its unique characteristics have placed it in a category all its own. What makes it so valuable? The answer lies in the details, in the microscopic features that most people's eyes would simply skim over without noticing. Experts have confirmed that this penny was struck with a transitional error, a mistake that happened as the U.S. Mint prepared its dies for the following year. The reverse design of this coin actually matches the 1989 cent, but the obverse belongs to 1988. That tiny mix-up of minting dies created a hybrid coin, a once-in-a-generation minting blunder. And when a blunder like this slips past quality control and ends up in circulation, only a handful ever survive. That scarcity, combined with historical significance, is what pushes the value through the roof. Now imagine the shock of the person who found it. Picture yourself pulling change out of your pocket after buying a cup of coffee and noticing something slightly off about the lettering or the memorial on the back. You decide to take a closer look or maybe even send it to a grading service just for fun. Then, the phone call comes. An expert numismatist tells you that you are holding one of the rarest Lincoln cents in existence, a coin that could fetch millions at auction. That is the kind of phone call that changes lives in an instant. That is the difference between tossing a penny in a fountain and cashing in on a multi-million-dollar windfall. Collectors all over the world are now on the hunt for more of these elusive 1988 pennies. Every coin jar is being dumped, every drawer of spare change is being checked, every childhood piggy bank is being cracked open, because nobody wants to be the person who accidentally spends a fortune disguised as a 1-cent coin. This is the stuff of legends, a Cinderella story of coin collecting, a reminder that you never know what kind of treasure might be hiding in plain sight. Auction houses are already buzzing with interest. Major collectors, investors, and museums are keeping a close eye on the market because the demand for rare coins has exploded in recent years. Wealthy buyers from around the globe are willing to pay staggering amounts for pieces of history that combine rarity, condition, and a captivating backstory. And this 1988 penny checks all those boxes. It is a perfect storm of numismatic excitement. With its $9.4 million valuation, it has entered the pantheon of legendary coins, standing shoulder to shoulder with rarities like the 1933 Double Eagle, the 1913 Liberty Nickel, and the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar. But here is the part that really lights a fire in the imagination. There could be more of these coins out there. Somewhere in circulation, maybe buried in a jar at the back of a closet, maybe resting in the drawer of a cash register in a small town store, maybe jingling in the pocket of someone completely unaware. There might be another 1988 Lincoln cent with the same transitional die error, just waiting to be discovered. And if even one more surfaces, it too could command millions. That possibility has transformed the humble act of checking your change into a modern-day treasure hunt. So the next time you get pennies back from the grocery store, do not shrug them off. Take a closer look. Hold them up to the light. Study the date, the design, the tiny details in the lettering and the memorial. Because the difference between an ordinary penny and a $9.4 million life-changing coin could be so small that most people would miss it. Remember, the person who found this penny was not expecting anything. They were just going about their daily life when they stumbled upon a piece of history. That could happen to you. This story teaches us that hidden fortune sometimes sits quietly in our pockets, waiting to be noticed. And that is the thrill of coin collecting. It is not just about metal and mint marks, it is about history, luck, and the possibility that the rarest of treasures are still out there, just waiting for the right pair of eyes to find them. So if you want to know what $9.4 million looks like, it looks like a small copper penny from 1988, a coin that has redefined what people thought possible in the world of numismatics. So go ahead, dump out those old jars, dig through the coins at the bottom of your car's cup holder, take a good long look at the pennies you have overlooked for years, because you never know. You just might be holding your ticket to overnight wealth. This 1988 Lincoln cent proves once and for all that sometimes the smallest things can carry the biggest value, and sometimes, the key to a multi-million-dollar future is sitting quietly in the palm of your hand.